All right, now that we have configured your app settings and styled up your wallet pass and configured the notifications in there, I'm going to move on to the final three aspects of your settings, which you're going to find in the left-hand navigation under functionalities. And you'll see you have loyalty, marketing, and prepaid. So we're starting off with loyalty here. And once you navigate to your loyalty settings, you're going to see the general details of your program first of all. So you have your program name, which is going to be taken from when you were setting up your account and you entered your business name. Then you have your points name, and then you also have the maximum amount of points allowed. So if you want to change your name, you can do so really easily. So I can change mine to Academy Loyalty, for example, and then I can call this Academy Points. And then for the maximum amount of points allowed, the absolute maximum is actually just one under 1 million. So it's 999,999. So if you want to have almost unlimited points, then that's what you can set this to. Otherwise, you could also set it to something like 100,000, for example. And then once you've configured those settings to your liking, you can hit update to make sure that they're saved successfully. You'll also see that you have this option here to allow the scanning of all QR codes. That feature is for an older version of our dashboard, so it's not something that you have to worry about toggling on or off. You can leave that as is. Now, once you've moved on from the details, you're going to see units, and by default, you will have the purchase amount in there as the default unit. And this basically just means this is how the points are determined, whether your customer is earning points or redeeming them for rewards. So now basically what we have said is that your customers will earn points based on the purchase amount. You can then select the format and whether or not it's a default option. So you can set an alternative unit as well if you would like. You just click add unit here. You can give it a label. So let's say unit number 2, for example. If you'd like to, you can enter a prefix, and then again, you choose your format here. So either integer or float. And for the default option, I'm going to select no here, just because I recommend that you leave the purchase amount as the default unit for your point transactions. Now, beyond units, you're going to see that you have transaction attributes. Now, again, this is actually part of the dashboard, which we are removing very, very soon, so you don't have to worry about configuring transaction attributes or adding anything here. And beneath it, you'll see your tier settings. So the default setting here is to base your tier progress on the amount of total points received. But you can also change this by just clicking on the menu and selecting any of the other options here. So you can also base it on points, so what their current point balance is. You can base it on their prepaid balance, on points transactions, or on total purchase amount or attribute. And if you select attribute, you can do that here, and then you'll get a drop down of the custom attributes that you've created here that you can base it on. My recommendation is that you actually keep it to total points received, and there are a few reasons for that. Number one is that it's easy for your customers to understand, so they can tell, okay, every time I make a purchase, I'm going to earn more points, and in turn, I'm going to progress higher within the tier system or get closer to the next tier. The other aspect of it is that it's a little bit more fair. So it's not very fair to your customers if, for example, they redeem their points for a certain reward, and just because they redeemed those points, they are then demoted to the lower tier. It kind of defeats the purpose of your loyalty program. And it's not as fair to your customers who've kind of worked to earn those points up to that point. So my recommendation is that you actually keep this to the default setting of total points received. And then the final thing here is your advanced tier settings. And that's something I'm going to get into a little bit later once you reach the loyalty course within the Academy, when we start making things a little bit more advanced. Now, the final thing on top of this, I'm going to quickly run through the prepaid setting with you, just because there's only one thing to configure there. And that's actually the maximum amount, which is just the maximum prepaid balance that any customer in your loyalty program can have. So you can make this figure whatever you would want. It could be 10 just as easily. It could be 10,000, or, for example, 10 million. So you can configure this exactly to your liking, and once you've done so, You're just going to hit update to make sure that's saved successfully. And now I'm going to jump into the marketing settings really quickly, where we configure some things like your email domain, sender profiles, and some other things like your subscription types. So I will see you there in the next video.